Sup guys, today we're gonna react to the beginning of madness. Also, this is like another video from Percy and the Beast Productions. Shout out to them. And this one's called Sodor and the S.C.P. And like, yeah. Let's start. 3, 2, 1. Here goes James. Also, I've already watched a little bit of this video. I don't think I've watched the full thing, but like, yeah.
It's only now that I thought to write this down in case something happened. My name is Bertie Williams, Bert for short, and I am a Sodor steam engine driver. Me and my co-worker Barry Morris are the driver and fireman James the Red Engine. Some suspicious people are being reported to be seen trespassing on the island.
That's the generator from the classic
inspecting and destroying various sets of buffers.
I forgot what his name
The Railway
was.
Board has announced the staff must be very careful to report anything strange to the head of the railway. It's a tough hat.
Yeah.
James is doing fine and is resting in the shed. He'll need the energy since our next train is due in 30 minutes. If anything else strange happens, I'll make sure to write about it in my journal.
Okay.
We turned James around for the return journey. It was only 20 minutes till departure, so there was time to spare. I stayed in the cab as Barry walked into the station to have a chat with the station master. As we waited, James claimed he saw a helicopter. It looked like one of those military ones, according to him.
He raised his eyebrow.
The black diesel engine we didn't recognize pulled in and just stood there in silence and stared at us. He then looked back and it seemed he was whispering something to someone.
He has a scar on him.
That's when everything went haywire. Barry came back to James, and just as he hopped into the cab, two men pulled out guns and started shooting into the air.
God.
The station was filled with screams as they threatened to kill anyone who didn't cooperate.
So
I released the brake, and we sped out of the station, passing by the diesel as we almost got hit by a couple of bullets.
Exactly like the classic
Helicopter flew overhead, someone said, terminate number 5. All three of us were horrified. We charged down the line.
Yeah, this
We got off the
definitely
branch
looks
line
like
and
the
headed onto the main line,
classic
hoping nothing was in our way. We saw Gordon up ahead pulling the express as usual. None of us said anything as we rushed by. It was our goal was to get away from the helicopter. We suddenly heard a whistle behind us. The dwarf who was pulling his train sped onto the main line behind us. Stephen looked back and his eyes widened at the sight of the helicopter.
Okay.
We soon heard the whooshing of a missile speeding straight towards us. As Barry shouted more call for dear life.
Okay, everyone's trying to stop. Dang, bro. Oh, there's the diesel in the background.
Thankfully, the points were set to Henry's Forest, and I slammed on the brakes, and James came to a stop.
Okay.
I grabbed my face cloth and wiped my head. Barry took a look at the gauges and saw that James was out of coal and low on water, so thank God that we stopped. Barry and I quickly turned off steam so James wouldn't explode. After a few moments, a helicopter, possibly the same one that had chased us, hovered by. How they didn't notice a bright red engine surrounded by green is beyond me. Luckily, we weren't spotted.
Thankfully.
After the coast had cleared, I told Barry to stay with James and I decided to walk over to the single box that we had passed. I carefully walked up the stairs of the signal box and opened the door to see a very concerned man. It was the new signalman, Darrell. He said he was keeping a lookout for the armed men and was very happy to see me. I told him everything about what had happened at Kirk Ronan, and he frowned, telling me that he had heard the Sodor warning sirens and had decided to stay put during the attack. There was a telephone nearby, and I was going to use it to call for help, but Darrell said that he'd already tried. The phone lines had been ripped down earlier by the men, shutting down most of the power on the other end. I offered him to join us, but he was hesitant because he would be breaking railway practices. But I eventually talked him into it.
Wait, but like, how would
the two of us walked back to Barry and James. We have been sitting ducks here for a while, and we have to get moving.
It's kind of dangerous, in my opinion.
We stayed here for almost an hour, while we waited for James to cool down. We can't stay here, but we can't do anything, as starting James would be risky. But I believe there's a water tower around the bend. It will only be a minute, so we should be fine.
Want a worry-free way to kill bugs?
Hashtag not sponsored.
Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
As we pulled up, James slowly filled up with water. We decided to go down to Crosby. It isn't too far, so everything should be okay. Mary made sure that the points were set to the main line, just in case. For all we know, some engines could be travelling around the island to try and find out what happened.
I like how the face is just like hovering over James's smoke box. Like it's moving on James's smoke box. Like look at that.
I'm glad to say that we made it to Crosby safely, and Darrell and Barry shoveled some of the last remaining coal into James's tender, being just enough to get us to the coal depot. I ran into the station to see if there was anybody hiding, if there was any food, or if the station master's office had a working television. Thankfully, when I entered the office, the station master's television was still working.
Okay.
Without a second thought, I turned on the TV, and I listened to a live Sodor news broadcast. These people are known as the S.C.P. Foundation. It is currently unknown what they want, or how many have been affected by this. And reporters said that for the time being, avoid them. The Sodor Sea Urchin Rescue are looking for them, and will do what they can.
Dang.
It wasn't long until the report began to cut to static. I could saw and I heard screaming with the sounds of gunshots. I think it's safe to say that they are probably dead. Afterwards, I walked back to the gang and told them what I had seen. Our next move is to call the depot. We will keep a close eye out on the way there.
Okay.
The sun was slowly beginning to set by the time we got there, and there was rolling stock scattered around the yard, either on the rails, in the sidings, or derailed.
Dang.
Some of the trucks had seemed to have been jammed into the turntable well, and some of them had bruises and several cuts on their faces. They didn't seem so troublesome now. None of them said a word, but only stared at us, looking petrified as they must have witnessed something truly awful. We wasted no time, and drove James under the hopper, filling up the rest of his tender with coal. Afterwards, Barry, Darrell, and I went to look for anyone who had survived, when we heard a voice. If you're looking for the armed men, then I'm sorry to say that they already stopped by and took some of our brothers with them. We all soon heard the sounds of a steam engine getting closer and closer as a whistle blew behind us. A whistle that all of us recognized. Our faces lit up with excitement as Percy emerged from the shadows. He was shocked to see us, but quickly smiled. Sam and Greg hopped out of his camp and greeted us warmly. It was interrupted by the sounds of faint, angry voices in the distance, and Percy told us to hide as he sprinted back into the shed. Before I could react, James jerked forward and ran to the shed too.
Okay. Oh, that's the end? That was shorter than usual, I think. Okay, So that's the end of the video. Bye guys, thanks for watching.